Hey guys and dolls, so Keto Diamond here, and I've got kind of several story times to tell you about a very hard day that we ended up having yesterday. Now the thumbnails and the photographs you're going to see in this are all older, but they go to the story. So my son is fine now, but those are pictures of my son, and makes all this kind of a little more tragic and painful, to be honest with you, but and disturbing and gross. I'll tell you all about it. You'll understand in a minute. So my dad bought an old '94 Blazer at an auction for 500 bucks. Long story short, the chick who sold it did not have power of attorney. The owner had passed away, and I think it was her father. And
I thought it was her husband.
no, honey,
I just thought it was.
that was the gold truck. That's a completely different story. But anyway, the old Blazer, it was her father. She really, I guess she could sell it, but didn't have all the things she needed to sell it. My dad ended up landed with it, and we couldn't do nothing with it. So it sit out there. But we got a bunch of old Blazers and Chevrolets in the yard, so the parts could come in handy. And they have, indeed they have. But Haley, my grandson Zach's mother, lived with us at the time, and she lived with us till Zach was probably about 2 or 3 years old. I can't exactly remember. I think she was here till he was about 3. Not important, that part, anyway. But anyway, as a result, she had nowhere to store anything, had a ton of baby clothes from Zach. Zach's other grandma has always loaded him up with so many clothes that he doesn't even have time to take the stickers off everything. The tags never even came off everything. So my mom said, hey, use that old Blazer. We can't use it. Nothing should be able to get into it. You know, go ahead and use the inside of that for storage if you need to. And boy, did she. It looked like a hoarder's car. The front floorboards to the back glass, completely full all the way to the roof. You behave yourself, let me tell this story. So, okay, the Blazer was folded up out there. They had a bunch of stuff. All Zach's clothes from the time he was born to the time he was about 3 years old. All Zach's baby toys, walkers. The thing I'm going to show you that Anthony's sitting in at the end of this. You behave yourself. I'm telling a story. Hush.
It's okay, baby boy.
Shh. He's looking at me like,
I don't want to shush.
who are you talking to, lady? You're cute, okay? Just be good. Alright, so.
Are you wanting these pictures? Oh, I got them.
Yes, send me those too. So she's got more pictures on her phone of the incident. I only had like 4 or 5. But so it was one of the most terrifying days of my life that I'm about to tell you. And then, of course, it gets even worse. So we've got this vehicle out there completely loaded down with baby stuff that Anthony, of course, now can use. And half of them are ruined. But it was because my son and his 2 buddies were outside, Hunter and Butters, I know, and Brian were outside riding the ATV. Well, I decided to go to the store, and when I left, my father was outside with them. But these are all teenage boys. They were upper teenage boys in their upper teens. And they were fine riding an ATV. And Brian's usually not reckless or dangerous, although they did not put on a helmet. There were motorcycle helmets and stuff out there in the garage they could have easily used, but they did not. So while I'm driving, I get a call from my son's friend Butters. You got to get home quick. There's been an accident. Brian's head went through the back glass of the Blazer at 55 miles an hour. I swear it was like I was driving on butter. That car turned around so easy. And I was kind of like, holy crap, I survived that. And I rushed home. So I get here, and my son's not outside. I was kind of expecting the horror scene to be at the back of the Blazer. And partially it was. Let me show you what I saw when I got home. And this picture was taken later. I didn't take it right then and there. I went and checked on my son first. But I want to show you what I saw real fast. Alright, so before they called, or I guess as Butter was calling me or whatever, Butters, he come in here and started telling them. Go ahead.
Oh, when that was all going on right before he called you, I don't know if he called you yet actually, but he busted through the door and was screaming, y'all gotta come outside. Brian's been hurt. He was screaming really bad. Like he sounded really scared.
Yeah.
He didn't exactly explain what happened. He just kind of ran back outside real quick. But when I got back down there, Brian was still laying on the ground at that time.
Okay.
And
I'm glad I didn't see that.
yeah, I know. I went inside the house to find Grandpa, and I came back outside. Brian was standing right in my face, right at the door, and his face was just covered all the way down with blood. And he came inside, and I think he wandered all the way back to his bed and just laid down on it.
Yeah. No, Butter's like, Brian got up and he went into the garage and he was trying to find my dad. And my dad's like, Mr. Fix It, so we expect him to be able to fix all our wounds. And if we're dying, he's got to save us. I don't know how that happened, but that's kind of how we expect it to be. But anyway, he had wandered into the garage. My dad wasn't there. And then he had wandered into the house to find my dad. And then went into his bedroom and laid down. So right after I had got here, the EMS had already were starting to arrive as behind me. And I had just enough time to talk to him and say, "Are you okay? What's going on?" He said, "I don't know. I think so." You know, and
That part.
so that they bodyboarded him and everything. They put the thing on his neck and to keep him from getting hurt, injured more when they moved him. Boy, hush, behave yourself. Mama, make him happy.
I don't know what he wants.
I don't either, but it was terrifying. They took my son to the hospital in an ambulance, and we all followed kind of suit up there. And it was scary. Now, let me tell you how hard-headed that damn youngin' is. He wasn't there about 2 hours. They put a little bit of stitch right here in his head. Mild concussion. Child's head went through a glass at 55 miles an hour. A thick back glass of a Blazer.
And the way Butters explained it, he went in and his whole body came
Yeah, he
up.
kind of like went in, his body flipped up and then smashed into the ground real hard. And I'm so surprised he was okay. I am so surprised. I'm thrilled, but I was shocked to death that he was okay, especially after everything I'd seen and heard. And of course, this is what he looked like in that moment. Days after that, I got two of the sweetest little photographs I've ever gotten. Zach, over that time, was a little bit afraid to touch his daddy. You could tell that he was timid. He didn't want to hurt him. He could tell that his dad was injured, not feeling good. And about 2 days later, Zach kind of went over to him, and Brian picked him up, and Zach just let him cradle him. And Zach's not a calm child. He's always been a rowdy, rambunctious child, so I got these photos. Alright, so anyway, the child hit the back end of that Blazer with that four-wheeler so hard it moved the Blazer, which was pretty non-movable. He moved the Blazer up like 4 feet and it slid sideways. So it was not a gentle tap. I don't know how all he walked away from was some stitches and bruising. That was it.
He had a really sore neck and he can't move. His neck was to a certain point still.
There was a few days where he couldn't move very well, and now he still kind of gets stiff if he moves too far. But as far as the doctors were concerned, all he had was a mild concussion and some stitches. And the thing that annoyed him the most was that right here, because his hair looked like this. Let me show you his hair. What annoyed the child the most was that a small spot here had to be cut so that they could put the stitches in. And for the longest time, he had a little strand here, a little strand here, a little strand here, and it wouldn't pull back into his hair. Is the little thing he likes to wear in his hair. Okay, so I tell you all that is an old story that happened in 2016 to tell you about what we did yesterday. Now, of course, the back glass was busted out of the Blazer. And then Haley passed away. And a lot of the stuff in there was hers and Zach's. And of course, stuff I very clearly remember her putting on Zach and playing with Zach while he was in that outfit. Different stuff and playing with toys with him. And Yeah, well, anyway, the blazer got moved around back. Nobody really wanted to look at it. Nobody really wanted to deal with it.
Haley was the first one at the hospital when Brian.
And when Brian wrecked, Haley was one of the first ones
She
at
was
the
at
hospital.
work too. She sped.
Yeah.
She was the first one there.
So, and this is when they were still dating. They broke up sometime after that, and she got with the wrong crowd. But, and that's what ultimately cost her her life. So, yesterday my dad was doing something to another blaze on the property and taking parts off that blue one. And since he was down there with us, and it didn't feel so bad because you got a vehicle with the back glass out that the snakes and stuff might have been crawling in, and you didn't know what you was gonna find. We all just felt safer with our dad, with my dad being out there with us, who's not afraid of snakes and stuff. I'm terrified. I ain't gonna lie, absolutely terrified. Anyway, me and Corey yesterday went down and started pulling all that stuff out of the blazer and going through it, because there's also stuff that Anthony, like I said, could benefit from being in there if everything wasn't ruined. Being that the back glass was out, we expected that back half and stuff in there to be pretty gone. But of course the back seat and the front seat, everything's filled up to the brim and tall, you know, there was a lot. And some of that stuff was even ruined too, it had gotten wet over time. And the vehicle, if I can find the pictures, I'm not saying I can, there was a flood down there not too long ago where he parked. It happens to be where the yak and whatever flowed just a little bit. And it got up to over the tires, so right over the door.
I got pictures
panels.
of it.
Okay, well, if you can find them, send them to me, and I'll show you those so you can see. Going through that blazer yesterday was not easy. It was so sad. And somehow that child managed to have 400 pair of underwear she didn't have in a bag. She just kind of threw them in there. We threw away a lot of undies and bras yesterday, but some of it was safe and it was okay. And we found this. It's a book from Haley, and it's got things she drew. And you know, when a girl and a guy start dating and they have kids, mom always gives them a baby picture of her son. So this is a picture of little Brian when he was a baby that I took because I was a photographer.
Those are all Brian's drawings.
Not all of them. Some Haley did do.
I know, but there's only the first.
But she saved a lot of Brian's drawings that I've never even seen. A
I've seen them.
3 days grace drawing that Brian did. And this Haley did. Brian Lee Wilson, I love you.
You say, oh, Brian is actually a really good drawer.
And then she did this, Brian, I love you. And it just reminds me of a simpler time where not everything had gone to hell, you know? Brian he drew a future Venom before they did a Venom movie. The coolest bonsai ever. I mean, so this stuff right here will forever remain in my heart. And it's going to go in Zach's memory box so that, you know, he can know that there was a time where his mom and dad... Stop it. Did, you know, create him out of love. But anyway, we had a rough day yesterday. And of course it's not super easy now because I'm going through all those clothes, washing and drying anything that Anthony can use, and throwing away anything that's no good. And we filled up an entire like industrial trash can, the ones they come out and dump into the trash truck. Filled up one of those yesterday. There's still more in that blazer, but I got everything I felt kind of comfortable getting. And
Hey, you crawled up in there yesterday. I would have gotten the rest. I didn't do it until I get that.
well, we'll let Aaron do it then, because I'm not, I'm chicken.
He crawled
Anyway.
all the way up in there.
I thought I'd tell y'all that story time, and that old blazer's still out there because it's still got a good engine in it and a good transmission. So, okay, behave yourself. Now I'm going to show you one of the things that we were able to get out of there and clean up really good for Anthony. And he's so adorable playing in it. So adorable. So, that's my story time. Much love to you guys and dolls. I just thought I'd share it with you. And if you love me and you love my family or the stories and all that, please thumbs up. What do you think? What do you think, darling? Where's that other blue piece at? Are you mad? Does it not come off? Look. Look. I think he's mad because he can't get it off. I can't see the ladybug. There
Maybe
you
you
go.
should throw some of the toys you can actually like pick up.
We
on there,
will.
too.
We will. Look, Anthony, look. Now you get to sit up. I'll
Hey,
be your
it's easy to sit.
lonesome. We'll put you some more
Well, he's
toys
trying
on
to get
there.
up. You see that leg trying to come up?
I see him. You can't get out of there, buddy. You
See,
said
it's a good thing we hooked him in immediately.
I like this thing. I bought it for Zach a while back. Now I got a couple more things that I got out for him too. I'm gonna tell you all about that later. Hey, are you trying to eat it? You can't eat the ball. Well, that's not gonna stop you from trying to eat that ball, though, is it? Huh? Anthony, you can't eat that ball.